Welcome to UNS EduTech's physics sessions. In this session, we are going to discuss a subtopic in physics called thermal expansion. It is a subtopic coming under heat and mass transfer in +1 syllabus. Okay. So, myself Sanal Mohanan, and we are committed to teach you the concepts in a better fashion, and our team is dedicated for that. We have a dedicated R&D team to teach the concepts in all the concepts in a much better fashion. So, today we will do one thing. In this session, we are going to show you a demonstration first, what exactly, so that you will understand what exactly is thermal expansion. Then I will take you to the theory, so that you will understand the concepts in a very good fashion. Okay. So, in order to show that, I have a brass ring here. We can see here I have a brass ring, and there is a brass. Brass is actually an alloy. Okay. Alloy of copper and tin is called brass. Okay. Copper and zinc is brass. Okay. And if I am taking this brass ball, you can see that if I try to pass through the system, I mean pass through the ring, it will pass through that. Okay. That means the ball is able to pass through that. The hole is large enough to allow the ball to pass through that. Okay. I am going to heat up the system. I am going to heat the brass ball. Just give me a second. See, I am going to try. Just a second. See, now actually, see, if I try to pass through that, if I try to take that ball in this direction, you can see that it's expanded. Something happened to the system. So, it's not allowing, the ring is not allowing the ball to pass through that system. Okay. Now, let us see what happened here. So, you have seen that before heating, the ball was passing through the ring, but after I heated, you have seen that something happened in the macroscopic level. Macroscopic in the sense, in the large scale something happened, it's expanded. Definitely it's expanded, because we never tried any heating in the ring, only we tried to heat on the brass ball. So, it is not passing through that ball, that means it's expanded. So, what happened here? Why it is expanding when we try to heat it up? Okay, if you are heating up a system, what is happening here, why it is expanding? So, today we are going to discuss about that. We will try to understand what exactly is happening behind this mechanism. See, in order to explain this concept, we have to go to the microscopic level. See, you have to understand what exactly is happening in terms of if you are going to the details of these molecules or atoms, what exactly is happening, and what is the exact reason behind this expansion, that we have to understand. See, in order to understand, I will show you some crystals. See, you can see that this one, for example, this is actually a graphite crystal. You can see that here this white color in between, you can see that these are actually bonds here, and actually we can say in another way we can say they are intermolecular or interatomic distance. We can say these are carbon atoms. Graphite is composed of carbon, these are atomic distance. Okay, this represents atomic distance. For example, in this case this is a diamond. Here also you can see atomic distance, you can see, or many other crystals such as we can see, all these lengths are representing the interatomic distance or intermolecular distance. Okay. So, something is happening to this distance, or something happening to the basic structure of, or the crystal structure of these materials when you are heating up. So, we have to find out what is that. So, that is our objective today. Now, in order to go to the details, you can see that this is an image of the structure, the molecular structure of any generic structure I am showing here. So, if you want to know the details, you have to simplify a system. Simplify in the sense, we are going to study a simple case. See, here in the previous case we have shown like complicated structure we have shown you. So, here you can see a small diatomic system. Diatomic system may be like it could be a gaseous species, or we can say generally maybe two similar also possible, two copper, two iron, anything is possible. So, this white rod between these two molecules basically represents the intermolecular distance or interatomic distance, we can say. Okay, more specifically let us stick to atomic distance, interatomic distance. So, here when we are heating, what exactly is happening to the system? So, that is our question today. Here you can see this is simplest model. See, these are two molecules, you can see this is one molecule, this is another, I mean atom, not molecule, this one atom, this is a second atom. So, this behaves like an oscillator. So, we have to understand why it behaves like an oscillator. We always say that when we talk about atoms, there is a lot of vibration energy. Energy is manifested in the form of vibration. And what is the source of this energy? That also we have to understand. See, energy is coming into picture because of the interactions. When you take two atoms, there are a lot of interactions. Interactions in the sense, you know that, see here, give me a second. Here you can see, here maybe electrons will be there, negative charge. Already you know that electrons are negative charge. Maybe here also electrons are there, negative charge. Okay, here also negative charge. These electrons will interact. Usually, you know, like charges repel, and this is nucleus. Here also nucleus. Positive protons are there, positive charge. They will start repelling each other, and this proton may be attracting, the nuclear center will be attracting the cloud, electron cloud in the second atom. So, all these kind of interactions. Sometimes, you know, some molecules, dipoles will be there, like any polar compounds, dipole moment will be there, and there is something called dipole interaction will be there, and because of that there is another kind of attraction will be there. Dipole interactions are attractive in nature, and there is electron cloud like Pauli's repulsion. See, these kind of things are there. So, simultaneously attraction as well as repulsion is coming to picture. As a result, some oscillation will take place. So, oscillation is taking place. That means every oscillation, for oscillation we have to provide energy, or some energy should be there in that oscillation. So, that is an important concept you have to understand here. So, whenever a system is oscillating, you have to understand that it possesses some energy. Okay. Now, for any oscillation, you know that there is an important feature called amplitude. Okay. So, there is an amplitude here, this is moving from here, see, like this between these 2 points, this is moving backward and forward. Okay. So, when it moves, so here backward and forward motion will happen in case of any oscillation. So, you know that the energy, the total energy contained in any oscillating system, that energy will be a function of, we can say generally energy will be a function of that distance, okay, or the amplitude we can say. So, in any case, in any normal simple spring mass system, we can say that energy will be proportional to the interatomic distance. So, we can say that for a given energy, for a given system, certain amount of energy will be there, and correspond to that, it is certain amount of distance will be there, some equilibrium separation will be there. This is very important concept. Now, we are going to apply external energy to the system. So, when we are applying external energy to the system, what exactly is happening? Already the system is oscillating. See, I will show you that. I will show you an animation so that you will understand what exactly is happening. Maybe after this explanation, I will show you. So, then you will get a very good picture what is exactly happening when two atoms are interacting. Okay. Now, I told you for a particular amount of energy, there is a certain fixed value of the amplitude will be there. Amplitude in the sense this distance between the molecules, the vibration that when a system oscillates, amplitude, you all of you know that in simple harmonic motion you are studying amplitude, okay, or the equilibrium separation we can say. Okay, so energy, if you are increasing energy, you know that for any system, if you are increasing energy, you know that energy will be having two components. One is kinetic energy, just a second. One is kinetic energy, and another one is potential energy. So, if you are increasing the system energy, both kinetic energy and potential energy will increase. So, when potential energy and kinetic energy increases, the total energy contained in this vibration or the total vibration energy will increase in the system. Now, there are a lot of models actually. See, here I have connected these two atoms with a spring. This is called simple or harmonic oscillator model. Model means mathematical model in physics means we are trying to explain a physical phenomena with the help of some mathematical functions. That is the idea behind a model. Okay, model. So here this is actually a harmonic oscillator model. There are many other models, something like this Morse model, Morse potential model is there, Lennard-Jones model is there. So different models are there, which is basically telling how the energy is changing with respect to the distance, like between based on if you're plotting the total potential energy versus interatomic distance or intermolecular distance, how it is varying. That model, that mathematical model is what we are discussing. With that we can easily explain what exactly is happening. So let me show you an example, the oscillation part I will show you through a simple animation. Look at this. See here the total potential energy of system. See, definitely when we are heating, we are providing external energy to the system. So when we are providing external energy to the system, what is happening? Naturally the total energy of the system will go up. Total energy means total energy can be split into kinetic energy and potential energy. So here if you are plotting the total potential energy of the system with respect to the distance between atoms, you can see that it will be varying in a particular fashion. See here, see potential energy, if the system is attracting, for example gravitation case, if the system is in attractive nature, you know that potential energy will be negative. At the same time, if it is in repulsive nature, potential energy will be positive. That you will understand. This is actually undergraduate or postgraduate subject, but you have to understand, little bit you have to understand in your level. So here you can see that as the system is attracting, the potential energy will be negative. You can see this will be 0, and here this will be positive part. Okay, above this line will be positive. Okay, now see this is actually the equilibrium separation. Equilibrium separation, at the equilibrium separation potential energy will be minimum. Okay, so that is actually for a given energy certain amount of distance will be there, certain distance will be there. For example, these are two molecules, two atoms, you can see separated by certain distance, you can see. Now actually when it exists in that system, it is always vibrating or oscillating. So that vibration, here I am not showing the heating effect, but I can show you what exactly is the natural situation and how a molecule or a system, an atom exists in a crystal. See, if I am playing this animation, you can see that, see this is coming backward and forward, and as a result energy is changing. So this oscillation is happening for both kinetic energy and potential energy. This oscillation is happening always. Now if you are increasing energy, if you are giving additional energy to the system, you can see that the potential energy, the total energy of the system will go up. As a result, I told you in the previous slide, I told you the total energy of the system is a function of amplitude or the intermolecular or interatomic distance. So when you are increasing energy, so if you are increasing energy of the system, this distance should go up. As a result, what happened? Basically a volumetric expansion will happen. So here if you consider this model again, you can see this, if you check this model again, see, look here, you can see that if you are heating up the system, this distance will increase, the interatomic distances will increase. Okay. As a result, assume that entire distances are increasing, all the spaces between atoms in each and every pair is increasing. Then what happen? A volumetric expansion will happen. That is exactly happen in our brass ball. So when we try to heat the system, each and every molecule, the intermolecular, interatomic distance between each and every atoms is increasing, and as a result, it's a volumetric expansion, and everything is expanding and it is not passing through the system. So basically we are providing energy to the system, we are increasing the vibration energy. Vibration energy means both kinetic and potential energy is increasing on the system, and we can see that the entire energy goes up. As a result, vibration energy increases, and as a result the equilibrium separation increases, or the atoms will be at in an excited state, or will be maintaining larger distance between them. That is the reason, that is exact reason behind this expansion. Okay, I hope all of you understood this concept thoroughly, at least in your level. This is essential, this is actually minimum requirement, so that you are not by hurting anything. So you will understand what exactly is happening between in this case. Okay, now I will show you one more thing, that curve I will show you. See, this is actually a typical graph, shows the potential energy versus, here is potential energy or potential, both will be varying in a similar fashion, and the distance between atoms. See, I told you this part is negative, this part is always showing the attractive nature. If the system is attracting, the potential energy will be negative side, and if it is in attractive, this is 0. If it is in attractive, then the potential energy will be always positive. See, here I told you, when you are changing the energy, if energy goes up, this is the total potential energy, here total potential energy, okay. So we can say total potential energy. Now here if the energy is increasing, you can see that, see if I am putting lines like this, different case, you can see that the system will, the distance will change. I mean this was the interatomic distance before, now if you are increasing it will change like this, and it will go as you increase the energy, the gap will keep on increasing. And that is the exact explanation behind. Again this is a mathematical model, you have to always remain that. We are trying to, we are observing certain phenomenon in nature, and we are trying to explain with the help of some mathematical models, and it may not be 100% correct always. Sometimes you have to follow certain empirical rules. Empirical means through observations we are developing some models, we have to put back, that is called, we are always some theory will be developed, and often you know many of this chemistry or some of these subatomic things are actually evolved in dreams of many famous scientists. In dreams they will visualize something, and later they will work on the mathematical side. You may not believe that easily, but that is the case. If you go through the history, many in many situations that happened. So they will dream, and they will try to maybe they are, because of their knowledge they are able to visualize something like that, then later they work on the mathematical side, and they will prove that okay, that is a satisfactory explanation to explain a certain phenomenon in nature, okay. So this is actually the this is actually called Lennard-Jones potential. Lennard-Jones is again a model, mathematical model. In +1 level it is not required, but in chemistry, in fact you are studying in the chemistry in some chapter you are studying the atomic structure, you are studying I think the interaction between atoms, and as a function of potential energy as a function of distance you are studying this, okay. So now I hope all of you understood the basic idea behind thermal expansion. Now we have to go through some of the practical situation where we use this, okay. See, all of you might have seen this gap. I don't know how many of you know this. If you ever get an opportunity to walk along a railway track, you can see these kind of gaps. See, these kind of gaps are meant to, this is actually a space left for expansion. During the summer, you know, due to the heavy sun, this metal temperature will rise by 3 to 4 degree, it can go up, sometimes even 10 degree temperature rise will happen. During the temperature rise, you know, that is very long. Sometimes, you know, a single rail will be like 1 kilometer long rails will be available, because usually they join, and once a while in between they will put some joint space like this to allow the expansion. So these kind of space like gaps you can see on railway tracks is basically to making some space or room for expansion. That is the idea, okay. So linear expansion will happen. Linear expansion in the sense, if the considerable the geometry under consideration is having the major dimension is along the length, then we can say linear expansion will happen. Expansion will happen in all direction, but in this case you can see linear expansion is happening, so it will come close, very close during the summer, and during the winter it will go back to retract, and this much gap will be there. So this is one of the application, railroad. And next one all of you may be knowing. See, whenever next time if you are crossing a bridge, you have to see that there will be joints like this with some metal covering, some joints will be there. There are two purposes for this, but one of the major purposes is to allow expansion. See, the bridge structure is called RCC, reinforced cement concrete. The entire system will expand during summer, and as a result, you know, if you are not putting any gap in between, in the previous case also, if we are not putting, what happened? See, I forgot to tell you that. If you are not putting any gap, what happened? It will buckle. It will buckle in the sense, huge amount of force will be acting because of this expansion, and some buckling will happen, and finally it will damage. That is called thermal stress. Thermal stress, thermal strain, that is again a separate topic that we'll be discussing in another session. So here you can see that if you are not putting the gap, the entire thing will damage. It can deform, it can derail, the trains may derail, okay, if you are not taking into consideration this part. Same thing will happen in this case if you are not putting a gap in the bridges. You know, one thing is, actually I will tell you, that is another reason, if some damage happen, only that part will be damaged. That is one thing. But apart from that, if you are not providing this gap during summer, it will expand. From both sides it will expand, and it will make huge amount of force, and it can damage itself, okay. So in order to avoid that, we are putting this gap so that during summer there is room for expansion, okay. I hope all of you understood these two examples. Then I will take you to the actual thing, so that you can actually solve problems based on this concept. Three things are there. One is, actually here we are going to discuss the quantification of linear expansion, then volumetric, and linear, then superficial, that means area, then volumetric. Three equations are there, you have to understand that. Okay, so here if you have assumed that you have a system of length, a rod of length L0, and its prominent direction, the prominent dimension is along the length, and assume the change in length happened is delta L because of heating. You know that when you are heating, definitely the length is going to change, because we have seen, we know the explanation. So length is going to change. Now, so we have to find out an expression, we have to find out a constant or a property, a specific value for this material, particular material. We have to say that which is connected with that expansion, or which is responsible for, or we can quantify that. Okay, I'll take you to that part. Please listen. So we can write down the final length L is equal to L0 into 1 plus alpha delta T. See, don't have to by heart anything. I'll explain you. Don't worry, you'll understand this easily. So here, this expression, if you are expanding, you can see that L will be equal to L0 plus L0 into alpha delta T. Okay. Now, if I am taking this to this side, okay, let me take to next page. So we can write down L minus L0 will be equal to L0 alpha delta T. See, in the previous case, what is this? Initial length. This is actually the initial length. L0 is initial length. This is the final length. Alpha is a constant called linear expansion coefficient. Temperature coefficient of linear expansion is alpha. Delta T is nothing but change in temperature. See, assume that initially it was T initial and it is going to temperature T final. Okay, then T final minus T initial is called change in temperature delta T. Okay. Now, we have seen that here we can write down L minus L0 divided by L0 will be equal to alpha delta T. We are actually going to define the alpha. So before going to that, you can see this is nothing but change in length. So L minus L0, L final minus L initial, that will be equal to delta L. We can write down generally here, denominator we can write down L generally, or we can say delta L by L0. Change in length by original length, it is nothing but called strain. You already know that, change in length by original length. So strain happened per unit temperature rise is called alpha. You know that here if you are putting the dimensions, you can see delta L, this is length dimension, this is also length dimension, that will cancel out, 1 by temperature will be there. Okay, so its unit will be either Kelvin inverse or degree Celsius inverse. So this quantity is giving the strain happened per every degree rise of temperature or per unit degree rise of temperature. That is called alpha, that is called temperature coefficient of linear expansion or linear thermal expansion coefficient. Okay. So this quantity will tell you what is the fractional change in length happened for unit rise of temperature. So it's a very important quantity. It will be constant for usually for isotropic material. Isotropic material means material having uniform or in all directions the crystal or the structure is similar. Such isotropic materials have constant value of alpha. For example, copper. Copper is isotropic. Pure copper, if you are taking, alpha will be constant value, it will never change. Certain value will be there for this strain happen per unit rise in temperature. Okay. So similarly, we can say this is for linear. If the geometry under consideration having prominent dimension is area, the prominent dimension is if it is area, then we call it superficial. Superficial means over the surface or area. So the same equation we can say previously it was A0, now it is changing by delta A. The same expression we can use in that case. See, that will be equal to A will be equal to A0 into 1 plus beta T, sorry, beta delta T, beta delta T. This will give you the same way volume, the superficial expansion coefficient or area expansion coefficient of temperature, or thermal expansion coefficient for area, or superficial thermal expansion coefficient. See, same way we can write down delta A, if you are following the same rule, delta A divided by A0 into delta T, that will give you beta. Again you can say area by area, dimension will be, there is no dimension for this part, okay, and 1 by temperature will be there, that will give you beta. Okay. Now this is beta. Similarly, one more thing is there, these three equations are very, very important in NEET and JEE exam perspective. Okay. Now next you can see volume expansion happening. So that is a natural case, always that is happening, but I told you if the prominent dimension is length, then we have to consider only length. Now the lateral expansion is, we can neglect that. Okay. Now here volume is expansion, this is actually a real case. If volume is expanding, again the same expression we can use, but another quantity will come, that is nothing but V will be equal to V0 into 1 plus gamma delta T. Okay. Now same way we can write down delta V divided by V0 into delta T will be equal to gamma. Okay. So this is called volume expansion coefficient or temperature coefficient of volume expansion. So these three quantities are very, very important, alpha, beta and gamma. So this is how we quantify expansion in +1 physics, and in for NEET as well as JEE. This much is sufficient, this much information is sufficient to crack most of the problems. There is one more topic called thermal strain, we will be taking another, in another session we will be handling that. Okay. I hope all of you understood the concept very well. You can drop your comments, if you are watching this video in YouTube, you can drop your comments in the chat box, and you can ask your questions also. We will try our best to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you very much. See you soon in another session.